Hello everybody and welcome to the table. Today we're taking a look at a brand new knife from Rosecraft Blades. So this one right here is called the Loosahatchie Jack. And so this is kind of their take on the popular, Barlow style pattern. So it looks really good in hand and it looks like a great little traditional knife you might want to add to your collections. So let's take a look at this knife a little bit up close and personal. I'll give you my thoughts and first impressions here. So what we do have, let's take a look at the length. Our blade length here, sharpened edge, comes in pretty much right at around 2.5 inches. And if you're measuring from tip to bolster, it's a little bit shy of 3 inches long. Overall length comes in a little bit shy of 6.5 inches. So I would say the Loosahatchie Jack here is a very pocket-friendly size knife. It also comes in at 3 ounces in weight. So it's not a heavyweight knife, not a big knife by any means, but it's a good size for, just everyday carry tasks and the things that people would carry a traditional pocket knife for. So of course, this is a slip joint mechanism, has a half stop, as you can see right there. Back springs are flush in both the half stop and full open and closed position. So really this knife in my hands right here, we have these really nice these bone covers. These are like a snake skin, dragon skin pattern. The shield as well as the pins are nice and smooth and flush. Bolsters are steel, very pronounced. Again, very, very nicely made. Quality looks pretty good in hand. So as you can kind of have seen, my only real gripe with this knife, love-hate relationship so far because it looks gorgeous, but being a slip joint, this sucker can be hard to open at times. And so if your hands are sweaty or the knife is wet, that could be a potential issue there. So our blade itself, now that we are open again, you can take a look at that. Beautiful satin grinds on there. And so of course those will be a fingerprint magnet if that is something that bothers you. But they did put the Rosecraft Blades logo on there. And we can see the D2 steel markings, model number, and maker's mark on this side as well. So really all the markings that you need are just right there on the blade. Overall dimensions look really nice. You can see the inside nice and clean. So of course, very good sign of a good manufacturing process when they can keep a slip joint knife nice and clean like that. And of course, these are manufactured overseas. In fact, when you first get the knife, this little China sticker is put onto the blade itself. So that's something you can take off. And that way, you don't have a permanent China marking on your knife, which might, it might bother some people, or just, sometimes people don't like to see that. And so it is removable. And I guess that still, allows them to advertise it as made in China, but it gives the end user some options as to what to look at in the long term. But let's make some comparisons because I have a few other Rosecraft blades on the table. So this one right here is the Appalachian Jack. So another slip joint, longer blade, but again, Rosecraft blades. And of course, right here, we also have the Little Riverbend Skinner. This one right here, love that Persian upswept blade. So let's just take a look at all three of those bolster to bolster, side by side, and you can get an idea of the size comparisons between these three knives. And so in terms of fit and finish and quality, they all look great. They're all manufactured very well. All of them have D2 steel blades, different materials for the covers, the handles. The Appalachian Jack right here, really, really nice knife. Very easy to open and close, no problem. On the flip side of the Appalachian Jack, though, we do have the Little Riverbend Skinner, and this sucker's a bear trap. Like this knife, once it's closed, I am not getting this knife open again with my bare hands. Has a nice nail nick right here, but it just does not, I cannot get that open. So I usually have to use either a pair of pliers or a pry bar or something to help me open the knife. So in that way, that's kind of a big negative for this particular model, which is a shame because straight out of the box, it opened just as nicely as the Loosahatchie Jack does. And so I'm kind of afraid this Loosahatchie Jack might go the same route. So unless my hands are absolutely bone dry, it can be a little bit tough to open this knife up. And you might say, well, hey, there's a nail nick right there. Why don't you just use the nail nick and do it that way. And I would love to do that, but our nail nick here is actually really shallow. I know this is part of the design, but let's take a look in comparison. You know, your traditional nail nick, like right here, it's nice and deep. You can get lots of purchase on it, no problem. But when we look at the same, not really a nail nick, but just this nail line on the Loosahatchie Jack, there's no depth to it. It's really, really shallow. So you can get your finger in there, it just slides right out. So, you know, in all but the best of circumstances, the nail nick section right here is more for, you know, decoration, I would say. So the pull is a little bit heavy for what I think it should be, which is a shame because our Appalachian Jack right here has an excellent pull on it, nice and light, but it still feels very secure. The blade is not loosey-goosey or anything like that. But we don't have that on the Loosahatchie Jack here. And I know they are releasing or have released another similar knife to this pattern. I think it's called the Beaver Creek Barlow. And that knife looks like it might have a little more meat to it. So there's more to grab onto at this point right here, which hopefully would alleviate that problem. So my only suggestion to Rosecraft Blades is to work with your OEM, try and get the pull a little bit lighter on these knives if possible. Because I know, sure, there are a great number of traditional fans out there who love those, you know, bear trap blades. But I think it's a lot more user-friendly to have a knife straight out of the box open really smoothly and easily. And so in a situation where your hands are wet, slippery, the knife is wet, slippery, and you pull this out of your pocket expecting to be able to open it and it doesn't want to come out, that could be a liability, especially if it's something important that you're doing. And I assume whenever you open your knife, you fully intend like, hey, I'm going to have to use this now. Let's get this blade out and back to work. But beyond that, that's really my only complaint with the knife is just the opening force is just a little bit too strong. And so tell me what your thoughts are. So again, this is my opinion. I think a slip joint should be easy to open, kind of like our Appalachian Jack here is. But a lot of you out there prefer it tighter. So tell me how you'd like it. What I really do like and appreciate with Rosecraft Blades is we're getting a lot of really cool traditional knife designs at an affordable price. Now, they are made overseas, of course, but if any of these knives here, these same patterns, you could have Great Eastern Cutlery make these knives and they would sell out like that. They would be gone out of stock in seconds, no matter how many were made. But we're getting a great value on some great patterns of knives here, and they're with good materials, good build quality. There's not a whole lot you can complain about on these particular knives. So the Loosahatchie Jack is just the next in the evolution that they're releasing. Like I've said, my only opinion is to keep the pull as light as you can without compromising safety. And I just think that would get you a lot more fans out there. And again, I could be wrong. Again, this is all opinion. So can I really be wrong? I don't know. But yeah, that being said, let's all have a good time here. And if you have any questions, comments, complaints, please do leave them below in the chat below. And I hope you all have a nice day, everyone. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.